We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. Yeah, we are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. Love that makes you know he can't fucking breathe. Love that makes you know we are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Ben Bronco. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. If it's Thursday, you know where you are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, I've got a glorious panel here with me to break down the shit talking and the shenanigans, to get into the fight news and the fuckery that is shaking down the fun pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. First and foremost, before we get into all the nonsense, how the hell you doing, gentlemen?
Doing fantastic. Some one day closer to the weekend. Got to be good there.
Yes, sir.
Been a little under the weather, but man, just like TJ said, it's about to be the weekend. You have plenty of time to rest up. I'm excited for the fights and fucking football. So
Hell
here
yeah.
for it.
Glad we can make it, brother. Glad you can make it. Ramie, should be joining us at some point in time. I'm fairly certain he's still out in the parking lot. We were at the Treehouse Lounge, Southern Missouri's first and foremost cannabis consumption lounge this evening for a little celebration. And holy shit, was it cloudy in that fucking place. It was good times. But he was still there when I left, so he is either in a cloud of haze, forgotten what time it was, or trying to navigate his way home right now, and should be here before too long. That being said, though, excuse me, kick things off the way we like to around here, a little bit with news and recent events, things that have shaken down the tube of the information superhighway since we talked to you wonderful folks last time around. First and foremost, kind of a fucking weird one, but I want to get it out of the way right out front. Big fight from UFC Vegas 80. Daniel Pineda was originally scheduled, excuse me, to face Hussein Ashkabov, I believe. Ashkabov. That fight is no longer taking place because Hussein Ashkabov and his twin brother have been arrested over the weekend for a alleged torture, kidnapping, and extortion during a home robbery in Thailand in the beginning of September. So again, this is all just the arrest information. We don't have any facts about any potential criminal outcomes or anything like that. This is just one of those weird fucking stories that I wanted to make a point to mention, because this gentleman was potentially going to be on the main card in UFC Vegas here in a couple of weeks, and now he's in a Thailand jail. So weird fucking turn of events can flip things upside down real fucking quick. Like, speaking of ending up in jail, for the third consecutive time now, this week we got confirmation that Pat Miletich has been arrested for driving while intoxicated, or suspicion, I should say, suspicion of driving while intoxicated. Nothing is confirmed until his charges are arraigned and whatnot. So allegations and whatnot aside, Pat Miletich has been arrested for allegedly drunk driving for a third time. This now putting his potential fight career resurgent match against Mike Jackson in question. Details to follow. Almost jail, but not quite. We got confirmation this week that Courtney Casey has officially been suspended by USADA for a short 4-month period. And it's a little bit of a strange situation here. She was suspended for using BPC-157, which is a peptide, which is essentially acts similar to a steroid in the body. It is not allowed under competition or out of competition under USADA ruling. The reason that she only got the 4-month sentence here, though, is because she turned herself in. Very interesting here. I would say that this is probably the route that TJ Dillashaw should have went, as opposed to what we saw unfold in the octagon, which was fucking terrible. But well, that's neither here nor there. So on one hand, good on Courtney Casey for deciding that she was wrong. She knew she was fucking wrong, and she knew she'd keep fucking around, she's going to get caught, and then it was going to be bad. So nip that shit in the bud. Get your shit right. Come back. There's always a redemption path in the UFC. We've seen it time and time again. Kind of an interesting couple of fight announcements this week here. The first one, first two really, a pair of announcements tied to Bellator 301, their follow-up to the Mega 300 card they're putting on November 17th. A double title headline card confirmed as of this afternoon. Co-main event will be Sergio Pettis taking on Patchy Mix to unify the belt down there. And the main event will be Yaroslav Amaslov taking on Jason Jackson for the welterweight belt. Both very great fucking matchups. A definite great example of two of the shining stars, or pairs of shining stars rather, over on the Bellator side of things as well. Flipping over from there, November 24th will be the PFL's championship night, when all of their $1 million divisional championships get decided. And the main event for that card was just announced this week. Kayla Harrison versus Julia Budd, neither of which are either in the competition at all this year. So trying to keep Kayla active before the so-called pay-per-view event starts up over in Saudi Arabia next summer. This is essentially how PFL is going to do it. And it's odd that they've matched her against Julia Budd, since this is one of the matchups that everyone wanted to see when Julia first got with the PFL, but instead they threw her into the tournament in a bunch of very unfavorable matchups. And now they're going to bring her over to Kayla. It's an odd situation. I'm just happy to see Julia Budd getting in there and a chance to make a good fucking name if she can do some work against Kayla, which she is capable of. If she does it or not is another story, but she is very capable. So we'll see if Julia can pull off the unthinkable against Kayla on the championship night in November. Kind of a weird pair to round out the news here, both back to the UFC side of things. First and foremost, Derek Brunson has officially been cut from the UFC. As of today, he is officially no longer with the organization, and his fight on UFC 295 against Roman Dolidze is officially off. Dolidze is trying to find another fight. No confirmed word from either side of things as to what the fuck just happened there. Kind of interesting considering how much the UFC generally loves Derek Brunson. And this Dolidze match was a real good matchup for both sides in play. And it was on the goddamn pay-per-view. So something had to have happened behind the scenes. I'm sure we'll get a little more about that as we get closer to the potential fight, where we'll see if they can manage to keep the other half of this on. But Dolidze doesn't sound too excited about his options at this point. That being said, that will tie us back to the bigger picture here a little bit. As of Wednesday morning, it is official. The UFC and the WWE are now officially, legally, and financially merged into a company that will be known as TKO, the parent company of the two. The bad news is that immediately quotes start getting brought up about WWE officials wanting to make super weekends where there's a WWE event on Friday and then the UFC on Saturday and another type of WWE event on Sunday, and that the ideal world is where WWE fan will go to their event on Friday and then come to the event on Saturday and then go to the other event on Sunday and, you know, spend $5,000 on the weekend every time they do this. And it's already getting a little much right out of the gate. The one good thing, though, even though it is only a good thing in technicality's sake, is that officially as of Wednesday, when all of those clowns got up together on that platform and rang the bell to open the New York Stock Exchange, Dana White is now legally no longer the president of the UFC. Now, the asterisk to that is that he is now the CEO of the UFC / the president of the UFC. It's literally as much an honorary title now as it ever has been, but at least we've got a little more oversight into the bigger picture here now, with the merger and Endeavor and WME owning the greater architect of the company that it's all been enveloped into. Dana doesn't have as much free reign as he used to. We're not in the Fertitta dollars era anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see how WME, more accountability, and then now the potential class action lawsuit all play into what the future of the UFC really looks like over the next couple of years, because realistically, the times, they are a changing. We will see, and I will definitely be keeping a close eye out. That being said, unfortunately, this week, as like most weeks, I have to end my news segment by reminding everyone that we have once again, it makes me so upset it's hard to say. We have once again gone another week where Dana White still has not been held accountable for openly slapping his wife down in Mexico over New Year's Eve. And no, contrary to what you say, Dana, just having the knowledge that that event happened is not enough punishment. Own the fuck up to it. That being said, before we jump ahead here, I don't know what Dana has said, but Valentina unblocked me. I don't know what the fuck happened here. 6 years, I've never said a bad thing about you. Dana's in your ear. I fucking know it. Either that or fucking Hans Smolenkamp, and I'll kick you in the nuts, you crooked mustache having motherfucker. That being said, do either one of you gentlemen have anything in the news this week that I might have missed?
Something that I think is noteworthy, not necessarily huge and groundbreaking, but for those of you who watch One or are big grappling fans, you might know who Mikey Musumeci is. May or may not. I'm just saying, champ over in One, fucking amazing grappler. But he has started into his second week now of Muay Thai training with a world champ Muay Thai kickboxing, and he's in Thailand currently.
No shit. So he's doing it right.
So I don't know if that means he might be thinking about the switch to MMA or if he's just doing it just for shits and giggles, which I'm okay with either because the more you know. But I thought there might be a little fun insight of maybe he's thinking about that change over to the MMA side of the house. But as good as he is at fucking grappling, I don't know why you would even bother fucking leaving that. But
I mean, if you're going to develop a striking base from a wrestling and grappling background, Muay Thai is one of the best fucking ways you can go, in my opinion. You can pick up boxing later, but if you can fucking elbow knee and work a clinch and a plum tie out of your and into your wrestling, maneuvering.
To be honest, as he's obvious, I saw some of the videos that he posted. He's a pretty good fucking athlete because he doesn't look too bad being 2 weeks into it. That's all there is to it. I'm just saying. Darth Rigatoni coming in and fucking killing people with knees and fucking kicks. I'm here for it. Let me see just one crushing elbow. That's it.
Right. Well, and like you said, by all means, if he just wants to do it, get after it, man. I will absolutely support a martial artist learning another martial art just to learn the martial art or maybe learn a little different flexibility or whatever. But on the other side of things, generally, when you're just learning it as a casual observer, you don't go to Thailand. When you're there, you're generally pretty fucking serious about it. And it's usually at least a step in the path to that crossover. And oh my goodness, could that be amazing if Mikey can get some sweet Muay Thai base and then make the move?
Yeah, because if he could get really good at Muay Thai, he'd be a dangerous motherfucker in MMA. Because he ain't got to worry about anybody taking him down. He'll submit the fuck out of him.
Yeah, no, it'll choke you the fuck out before you blink twice.
Yeah, it was kind of cool to see. I just thought it was noteworthy. Not necessarily anything that's going to trip anybody's flags or anything, but knowing that he's into his second week of training and he's training with some of the top Muay Thai guys in the world in Thailand.
Yeah. So he's serious, yeah.
Yeah, nothing like an outdoor fucking gym. That's all I'm saying.
Damn right. Hey, those banana trees are famous for a reason.
That's right.
You got anything over there, Christian?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, in that case, then, this would normally be the part where we would have a rethinking segment with our local flip-flopper here, but I think he might be a little dazed and confused in a parking lot at the moment. So instead, I will take this moment to remind you that this is the point in a normal podcast where you would get some type of B-roll bullshit ad from a company that has nothing to do with the podcast by things that aren't used by people on the podcast, and it's just a big bunch of stupid bullshit. We don't fucking play like that here. If you want to help out around here, you want to get your name recognized around here, there's an easy way to do it. It can cost you as little as $1 a month. Patreon.com/I'mNoJoe. Get your name as a thank you on the end of every broadcast we do on this channel. Get you unrestricted access to unaired and unairable things only in the I'm No Joe Patreon library. Exclusive little nuggets that we drop for you guys and things that we literally couldn't put anywhere else without a legal age restriction. So it's wonderful. It helps us out. It gets you a little something as well. Helps us do what we do. That being said, sometimes when you're an old head like some of us are, you kind of develop a sense of what you like to watch and how you like to watch it when it comes on. And inevitably, you develop a set of blinders, so to speak, and you start to only look at one thing, and you start to lose the forest for the tree, as it were. Luckily for us here on the I'm No Joe podcast, we have ourselves a bona fide young person who can finger the pulse of the MMA world ever so delicately and keep us abreast of the nicest names coming up in the punchy kicky world before they become a household name, so we know who to watch before there's somebody to watch. In a little segment we call Slow's Cans and Contenders.
All right, I appreciate you. So, didn't see the Contender Series this week. I know Dana handed out another 5 contracts. I'm sure they weren't well deserved. I know a couple of kids were talked about highly, got some finishes, but not so sure about it. I'll see if I tune in next week so I can actually have something to talk about. But it was getting to the point of the Ultimate Fighter. You know, when you're busy as fucking hell and the fights just aren't that worth it, it's hard to tune in. But, you know, I am supposed to be the one reporting about it. So, yeah, I got to do better. But for this card, I do have some cans and some contenders. Hope TJ doesn't give me shit because of the last time I put Mereces in the fucking contender spot. But for the cans this week, we're putting the fight in general in the cans. Raw Rosas Jr. versus Terrence Mitchell. You know, we're putting that in the can. You know, the fight in general. Both of these kids probably shouldn't be in the UFC. I mean, Rosas has shown that he's got some decent jiu-jitsu. He's really fucking young. Obviously, he could build off of a lot. Doesn't need to be in the UFC. Didn't need to be given the contract. Especially if you lose to a can like Terrence Mitchell, it just proves the point even further. I'm pretty sure there's no interest in this fight whatsoever for the most hardcore MMA fans. Even if I'm a younger guy, just can't promote this fight worth a damn. I had to throw it in the trash. Hoping that both these kids wind up getting cut afterwards. You know, Rosas really should. With that fact that he's still so young, just throw him back down, let him get some good work in. Maybe someday in the future he'd be worth a damn. Let's see, but we got another can fight. I'm throwing this fight at Edgar Chairez versus Daniel Da Silva. Chairez maybe has a chance to get a finish in this fight. It has some chance to make it a little exciting, but I think, in all honesty, both of these guys, there's not much to be had here. Daniel Da Silva is, I think, 0-4 in the UFC. It's just, yeah, you just throw this fight in general in the trash, but definitely Da Silva shouldn't be in the UFC anymore. It's a real surprise how you can go 0-4 and he's still getting a 5th fight. So we'll see, but it's another one of those fights we just don't have any interest in whatsoever. Then I got 2 individual fighters we're tossing in the can as well. Elise Reed and Kyle Nelson. Just another couple of fighters that we're not interested in. Probably going to get their asses beat this weekend. Kyle Nelson, I feel like, is going to get knocked out. Elise Reed probably just dominated by Lupita Godinez for 15 minutes. So we'll see how it goes for those cans. But, you know, I think they're going to prove their canishness. The contenders that we're looking for, we got a fight here. They're probably the contender fight of them all. A literal ranked fighter versus ranked fighter in the welterweight division. Kevin Holland versus Jack Della Maddalena. So, I mean, whichever guy comes out on top should be shooting way up to the moon. Kevin Holland, he's been preaching it all week. He's like Sean Strickland a little bit. Or even Nate Diaz, if you will. He doesn't care about the fucking belt. But if he keeps on beating dudes that are ranked, you're just going to keep on working your way up there. You're eventually going to get it. But he does also continue to make that point that he wants money. So you keep working your way up there, you're going to make more and more money. I think Holland's got the edge in this fight, mainly because of the experience. Like, he's been so active since he came off the Contender Series. He's beat a lot of really good guys. He's shown that he's got that ability on the ground and with his wrestling, just like he's got that ability on the striking game. I mean, he put on a Fight of the Year contender last year against Wonder Boy. And Wonder Boy really beat his ass because of the experience he had, but also Holland broke that fucking hand. Could have been a different fight if he wouldn't have broke the hand. But against Jack, Della Maddalena. I think Holland's going to show that experience difference here. As good of a boxer as we've seen out of Jack, I feel like it'll make for an exciting fight, but Holland will come out on top. And it's really just because he's got the advantage. If he wants to just take Jack down, submit him, he can just hop on his back, some shit like that. But I still think even on the feet, Holland edges that shit out. We'll see how it goes, but it's definitely one of the most exciting fights of the weekend for me. I got another contender fight. It's a ladies' fight. Tracy Cortez versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. So whichever one of these ladies comes out on top, probably kind of shooting their way up in the flyweight division as well. I think Jasudavicius, in my eyes, has the edge on this one, mainly because Cortez has not fought in a while. You know, the big layoff and everything might affect her a little bit. She's also just been a decision machine her entire career, where Jasudavicius has actually been finishing some ladies in her last couple fights and look pretty good. We'll see how it goes. Vincent's definitely rooting for the Canadian. I can tell you that. I'll imagine for the Canadian as well a little bit, but it is, UFC Noche. We'll see how the Mexican crowd, actually shows up, even though they're in Las Vegas. How many people actually travel and show up? Mexican Independence Day is being made into a big deal. It might help her out. I feel like the fight will be a lot more boring if Cortez wins, so I'm kind of edging the Canadian. But it could be an exciting ladies' fight. We normally don't get a lot of them. The fact that both of these ladies have some potential as being prospects. Looking forward to it a bit. Two individual guys I'm looking forward to. I know I've mentioned him before as a contender. You guys didn't necessarily like him, but the last few fights he's got knockouts. You just can't deny that. Roman Kopylov, he lost his first couple fights in the UFC. He's turned it around. He's won 3 in a row, all of them by knockout. The dudes just look wicked sick. He's fucking amazing with those kicks. He's good on his feet, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can do again this week. Josh Frim, I feel like it's easy too. I mean, I was more excited. I can't remember who he's supposed to be fighting before. It all got switched up. It was supposed to be a completely different fight. One dude fell out, Kopylov steps in, another dude falls out, then Josh Frim comes in. It's just a whole different fight at the end of the day. I feel like Kopylov's just going to work over Josh Frim. Four in a row, probably fourth knockout in a row. It's going to edge him closer to being able to work his way towards being a contender, getting the top 15. And then young kid getting his UFC debut, Charlie Campbell. Saw him on the Contender Series last year. He was knocked out by Chris Duncan, but he had clipped Chris Duncan before. It was that situation of Duncan almost got knocked out and fought his way back, the comeback story kind of thing. Charlie Campbell's definitely looked fucking fantastic. One of those boys that works with Ray Longo and Matt Serra, Aljo, Marab, that whole fucking team. So Charlie Campbell, we're looking forward to him. A lot of knockout potential from this kid. We'll see how he does in his UFC debut, but we're throwing him in the contender spot. Love to hear what you guys got, what can and contender or cans and contenders you boys may have for this weekend.
You thought you were going to get away without me giving you hell, Sir Flippity Flop.
Yeah, I knew you'd give me some shit, but I'm making the right call.
I don't give a shit if you're sick or not. You don't get away with this bullshit. Come in all on the Raul Rosas Jr. hype train, and now you're going to fucking sell because he's lost one fight. No, you ride that fucker out until he gets booted out of the UFC. Don't you keep flip-flopping. God damn it.
That's the other thing. I knew you'd give me shit, but I put the fight in the can. Not necessarily him as the solo. Both fighters clumping together, right? I don't feel like neither one of them deserve to be in the
You know what
UFC.
this is? This is the bullshit flag, and I'm fucking waving it.
Yeah.
That you make that your ride or die. You made that decision already. Now stick with it.
No, I wasn't really a fan of the kid to begin with. I just thought he had potential. He showed us he has none.
Are you gonna throw out the white flag? Is that what that is? Are you giving in yet?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I have no problem with that. Just like Patty Pimblett, I'm surrendering with that one too.
No, Raul Rosas Jr. as a whole fucking can. I've said it from the get-go, and I will continue to say it until he gets his boot finally. Hopefully it comes after shitty ass Terrence Mitchell beating the brakes off of him. Give that kid the boot. Like I said, if anything, he does have some. I will give credit where credit is due. He does have some solid jujitsu for such a young kid. If anything, go give him a developmental contract. Let him go fight in fucking some smaller promotion 7, 8, 9, 10 times until he's about 22 or 23. Then bring him back for a trial run, not in the UFC, but on the Contender series again. See if he's gotten any better. But here we fucking are, and unfortunately, this is reality. Fucking cans, the both of them. Oh, the one can that I feel like was kind of missed here was Josh Fremd. I look at Josh Fremd as a fucking can. Just straightforward. He got lucky to win his last 2 fights. He got beat by Trayshawn fucking Gore, for Christ's sakes. The dude is a fucking can. That's all there is to it. Roman Kopylov, obviously on the contender spot. That dirty Russian is fucking, he looks dangerous. He has some serious potential over there, even though he's got the weird kind of Jufro thing going on. But hey, I've never seen a Jew in Russia, so here we are. Now, the Tracy Cortez Jasmine Judavicius fight, I think you're right on in picking the Canadian, especially now that Tracy Cortez and fucking what's his name are no longer a thing. I think her head might be in the right old T City. They're no longer in the T City. So I think that it may play out to where it could go in Tracy's favor though because of that. She ain't got somebody in her fucking ear worrying about what's at home, so she might be able to focus on training. But we will find out how that plays out though. But I definitely do think that has a lot of potential in that fight for the women's fight as far as the division is concerned. As far as the fight itself is concerned, I don't think it's going to be that exciting. The only other contender that I do want to throw on there is, I have to say, Jack Della Maddalena. I think he's got the edge in Kevin Holland. I love Kevin Holland. I love the fucking mouth. But that is one of the few Australians that we've seen coming up where I think he has a legitimate he's got legitimate power at welterweight where he's taking people out. Don't get me wrong. Kevin Holland can knock people out, but it's not the same kind of fucking power. And Jack Della Maddalena is fast as fuck. Little gift you see, I'm fast as fuck, boy. That's Jack Della Maddalena. Fast as fuck, boy. Yeah, so I think he deserves up there. And, grabbing the low-hanging fruit here, we'll say contender Valentina Shevchenko because she's not currently the champion. Low-hanging fruit, though.
With you there. Yeah, she's definitely a contender this weekend as well. But Jack Della Maddalena, that's why I had to throw the fight as a whole. Whichever guy comes out on top, in my opinion. But I think Holland edges it with the experience. Mainly, Jack looked rough in his last fight against that guy, Basil Hafez. Like, I know it was short notice. The dude literally stepped in on a few days' notice. He was preparing for somebody else. But, Jack looked a little rough against that guy. He was lucky to get that win, in my opinion. But we'll see how he does against Kevin Holland. I think that's the most exciting fight of the weekend for sure.
Also, one other I do agree with. You knocked it out of the park with the Elise Reed thing. She is an absolute fucking can. I can't wait to watch Lupi Godinez just fuck her up.
All right, what you got, Meter?
So, first one, the original fight was Roman Kopylov versus Fluffy Hernandez. Fluffy Hernandez got hurt and had to pull out. Kopylov versus Hernandez would have been fucking spectacular in my opinion.
That's
all kinds of potential. Russian Chase Hooper has got the fucking fire underneath him right now, dude. The kid is a fucking problem, and Fremd is as canny as can fucking get. This kid is teed up to just look like a stud this weekend. I agree completely there. Fuck Rosas Jr. on all counts. Absolutely agreed. Lupe Godinez, full camp Lupe. We've seen short notice Lupe can go either way. Full camp Lupe, solid as a fucking rock. Against the can that is Elise Reed, this is the ladies' version of the fight that we just talked about. Elise is teed up so Lupe can look fucking spectacular on the Mexican Independence card. Great matchmaking in that one, in my opinion. My contender I used very loosely. It's only a contender because I'm a petty bitch and I'm very open about that. Daniel Zellhuber. We've seen this kid be spectacular for a minute 30 at a time. But if it takes more than 3 minutes, this kid wins out like an 80-year-old trying to do a triathlon, man. It just doesn't fucking happen. He has zero gas tank. He's all flash. He's got some real fucking tight skills in his toolbox, but he just hasn't been able to actually stay in a fight long enough to really show us what he's capable of, in my opinion. Giagos is not full can, but man, if he's not in the dented goods barrel, I don't know who the fuck is at this point. So it's my own sick perversion because I want to see if Zellhuber can really do it or if he gets chucked in the cans next time we see him out again. But I think there is a spark of potential in that one. The other one, I agree. Charlie Campbell has about as good of a setup here as you can get. Alex Reyes is the dude of the fucking can section in the fucking lightweight division right now. There's a reason they're keeping him around, and it ain't because he's so fucking good looking. It's so guys like Campbell can come through and style on this motherfucker in the prelims and get people excited about the later fights. So I think Charlie Campbell really does have a good chance to come in here and put a great show for us this weekend. But my can is a whole fight here. And that's Tracy Cortez versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. That I have not been impressed by Jasudavicius. That whole Maverick fight was ridiculous from top to fucking bottom. But Tracy Cortez on the other side of things, between the big breakup with T-City, between the long fucking layoffs, she had some injuries during those layoffs. She's changed gyms during all of this as well. She has literally got everything down to her core shaken up. So there's a good chance that she comes out and just shits the bed flat as a fucking board, or she comes out super fucking pumped, ready to go and gives Jasudavicius a war. I'm not excited about the potential for the latter. I'm kind of thinking it's probably going to be the first one and it's going to be kind of a sad match. So I'm not really excited about that one. But that's my picks for this week.
You see where you're coming from with that fight. It definitely has the potential to shit the bed as a whole. I appreciate you brothers giving your opinions. It was good shit. For the most part, we're all in agreement. So there's definitely a lot of cans on the fucking card.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that, sir. Much appreciated. So this will bring us to the point in the show where the only segment we have that requires its own disclaimer comes up. So Tapology.com does not in any way, shape, or form sponsor, support, or endorse the I'm No Joe podcast yet. That being said, Tapology does offer you the option to go to their site, create a free account, and make fantasy-style picks about MMA fights. They also offer you the option to make groups on that site. We've made a group on that site. It's called I'm No Bookie, Group 965, if that's how you need to search it. Either way works for us. It is open to the public. You are more than welcome to and encouraged to make yourself an account, join the group, and let us know who the fuck you are so we can hold you accountable in a little segment we go over where we call Tapology with TJ.
Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna jump right into it because last week was a little bit crazy. When I say a little bit crazy, I mean a lot crazy. Everybody started off fucking hot last week. Like looking at picks wise, going all the way through the card, everybody looked great. And we're gonna start out with this. Talking about a mind-bending comeback from what looked like they were at the bottom to all the way to the top. Oh fucking meter, taking it home with 9 out of 12 correct. At 6:55, Ramie shortly behind him, which is crazy because he got 11 of 12 picks correct, but he couldn't pick a fucking perfect to save his goddamn ass. So 11 of 12 correct with fucking 630 points, 25 points behind. All he had to do was get one more decision pick right. No, just one. Couldn't even do that. Go figure. And then he doesn't show up because he doesn't want to hear about it today. That's fine. We'll hold him accountable next week. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the person who decided to trip over their dick. Surprise. It's two of us. Me and Don, we decided to take our dicks out and play fucking double dutch. We tried to invite Ramie in because he couldn't get that extra fucking 25 points, but he decided he was just going to sit there and say, no, I'm out. All right, well, here we are. We're playing double dutch this week. Flatten them out. They're ready to go. Anybody who's ready to jump in and call next, feel free. You're up this week because I'm fucking out. A rough week. But on a positive note, everybody in our group well above the 500 mark. And that's all we can ask for.
I was
If
just
we're
about
hitting
to
above
say.
500%. Guess what? You know what that means? If we're making bets, we're making fucking money this week.
That's what I
how
was
that
going to say.
works.
There deserves to be an asterisk there because the worst person in our group, I say with air quotes for those of you listening, got 7 of 12 fights picked correctly. The lowest scoring person in our group still got 75% accurate. So I'll take that in that fucking group any day. I don't care who fucking wins when we're all doing that fucking good.
Damn right. It was fucking a hell of a run this week. So well done to the entire group, even those of us who decided to play double dutch. Ramie, you need to work on your perfect picks a little better, and you would have won. Could have had it. We're this close. Feel like I should have the fucking fishing pole out right now. But you know, I guess you'll get that if you understand the fucking commercial. But hey, you know what I'm talking about. So that was this
Almost had
week's. If you're not a member of the group, come join the group. Again, that's I'm No Bookie, group 965 over on Tapology. We will indeed hold you accountable when you fuck up. We'll pat you on the back when you do well, and then we'll even roast you if you could have won because you had more picks right, but failed in other areas. But then again, some of us just like to play double dutch. That's how that works. Now, on to this week. Surprisingly enough, we have some wider odds than we've had on recent cards. Also, being as this is my segment, I will go ahead and eat my crow now on saying Sean Strickland didn't have a chance in fucking hell. Obviously, anybody who bet on him made their fucking money's worth. In fact, that's the only reason I played double dutch this week is because somebody decided that they wanted to pick fucking Sean goddamn Strickland and got their fucking 50 points for the W. You're welcome, Don. You're welcome. Otherwise, it would have been you solo queuing it down there at the bottom, rolling out your own, playing single fucking jump rope.
Not to mention, this asshole right here called Strickland by decision. We were this close to Ramie driving us to Vegas instead of doing a show this week. But this fucker called it by decision correctly as well. So I want to give a shine out there as well.
Yeah. It was a hell of a way to go. So there, I ate my crow because I did call Ramie batshit crazy. Although his prediction was wrong, there was no submission, not even a fucking takedown attempt. So Ramie, eat crow on that, goddammit.
Yeah, you gotta admit it was definitely something special that he went into a kickboxing match with Izzy and dominated him for pretty much
And
25 minutes.
The
At
only
least 20
kicks
minutes. He lost the one round.
The best part of that is the only kicks he threw were push kicks. There wasn't really any other kicks. But that Philly shell defense worked fucking great for him because he rolls with
the
everything.
1 and 2.
There was a part of me that literally wanted to open the show tonight by going, check, 1, 2. Does that mean I'm the middleweight champion now?
Yeah, it was fitting because he checked every goddamn low kick and he looked like a stud doing it. And I hate to say that because generally you watch a guy who only fights with 1s and 2s and you don't think stud, but hey, here we are.
Yeah, I know you missed out on being in the Zoom chat with us on set, but I was losing my fucking mind after Strickland won. That was definitely something fucking special. I kind of wanted to get that USA chant going.
Yeah, I will say that was probably the biggest MMA upset we've seen in the last couple of years, I think. It was amazing to watch, though. Anyhow, on to this week's. So for the Grasso Shevchenko fight night, which may I also note, finally giving us something worthwhile as a fucking follow-up hangover card. Not that the rest of the card is all that great, but the co-main and the main are pretty fucking good. So I'll say it's probably one of the better hangover cards in my opinion. Not to mention there's a title on the line on a hangover card. That's fucking great. No, with the odds this week, we actually have some wider odds than we've had lately in most of them. Surprisingly enough, the two closest set of odds, which are coin flips, the co-main and the main. They've got Kevin Holland, Jack Della Maddalena, coin flip. Maddalena as a slight favorite in a 155 to a plus 125 Holland. And they've got Shevchenko as a favorite coming in as the title challenger at a minus 165 and Grasso as a plus 140. Those are the closest odds on the entire fucking card. Everyone else has wider cards. So I'm going to hit all of these real quick like. Edgar Chairez and Daniel Silva Lacerda. They've got Edgar coming in as a minus 250 favorite. Daniel coming in as a plus 200 underdog there. The Roman Kopylov, Josh Fremd, just as I said earlier, Fremd is a fucking can, getting a plus 260 underdog, and Kopylov coming in as a minus 350 favorite. Again, hitting on the cans here. Elise Reed, Lupe Godinez. Elise Reed coming in as a plus 325 underdog. Lupe Godinez, a minus 450 favorite. You love to fucking see it when they get the odds right there. Kyle Nelson, Fernando Padilla. Kyle Nelson coming in as a plus 200 underdog, and Padilla minus 250 favorite. Little crazy, especially on a short gas tank, but hey, here we are. You know. Then Daniel Zellhuber and Christos Giagos. We got Daniel coming in as a minus 275 favorite. Christos coming in as a plus 220 underdog. Not bad. Like I said, wider than our coin flips. Now, for the craziest amount of bullshit you'll ever hear in your life, the widest odds on the entire fucking card. Raul Rosas Jr. and Terrence Mitchell. For some goddamn unbeknownst reason to anybody in the goddamn world, they have Raul Rosas coming in as a minus 750 favorite. Terrence Mitchell as a plus 525 underdog. Bet the house on fucking Mitchell. Go make some goddamn money because Raul Rosas is not that fucking good. I don't care what anybody says. That's an absolute travesty that's fucking there. Also, I think there was one other fight I missed on here. No, I think I got them all. And if I didn't, that's okay, because that means they weren't worth mentioning. But still, completely bet the fucking house against Raul Rosas. I'm telling you, there's no way the kid is a minus 700 fucking favorite on that. Get fucking bent.
The opening fight.
Oh, I did miss the opening fight. That's right. Josephine Knudsen and Marnik Mann. And we got Mann as a plus 410 underdog and Josephine Knudsen as a minus 575 favorite. The Swede over the American. But, you know, it's two younger girls in the strawweight division, so crazy shit happens. Who knows? You might be able to make some money on that one too, but I'm not saying it's worth your fucking time. Now, also, the odds I was looking at, just so you know, those are BetMGM. What you see elsewhere, they may vary. Just to let you know, they may not be the same, but they'll be close. That's all we got this week, folks.
Thank you very much for that, sir. Much appreciated. So before we dive a little more into this UFC card real quick, I do want to give you folks a quick little rundown of the weekend's combat sports menu, so to speak. We do have a quite a healthy bouquet in front of us this weekend coming up. Kicking off tomorrow, bright and early for all you sun-worshipping lizards, 7:30 a.m. Central Time. One Friday Night Fights, because they're on the other side of the planet, kicks off. Again, another one where not a lot of casual folks are going to recognize a lot of names, but this is a true mixed martial arts card. 2 actual MMA bouts, 10 Muay Thai fights, and I think they have 2 kickboxing bouts that are as the quote-unquote prelims for that as well. So great mixed martial arts of all true disciplines for the casual consumer to try and educate themselves or watch a little fun thing first thing in the morning. That brings us to tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, kicking off with LFA 167. Now, there are a couple of names on this roster that the average casual will still recognize. LFA being one of the largest feeder organizations for the UFC right now. A lot of their champions and high-ranking fighters tend to make their way into UFC pretty quick, and vice versa when they get chopped out of the UFC and are told to go back to their local circuit and get a little more experience. A lot of those folks come back down to LFA. So you'll recognize some names on this LFA card tomorrow night. Now, Saturday morning is when things get a little weird, because then we go back over to Europe for a little bit. Taking place at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, kicking off Saturday morning is Octagon with a K 46 over in Frankfurt, Germany. Crazy cage fighting over in Europe. Another one, the hardcores will recognize a couple of names on this card. The casuals, it's just fun fights to watch for your Saturday to get going. Saturday afternoon, an hour later, kicking off at noon Central Standard Time, is KSW 86, another large UFC feeder organization from over in Europe. A lot of KSW champions and high-ranking fighters have made their way to and done very well in the UFC. This one, again, has a couple names the average casual will recognize on this card, and a couple you're going to want to get to know because they might make their way into the big names pretty fucking quick. But that will bring us to Saturday evening UFC Noche, probably the least hangover card we have gotten from the UFC in a long goddamn time. One of the first times that I can remember where we have a title up for grabs on a free to view fight night, partially because Danny can't figure out how to get the pay-per-view system to work in Mexico, but that's neither here nor there. UFC Noche does have some very interesting fights stacked up on it. This is not a top to bottom banger, but again, it is a hangover card, so you got to take what you can get here. Gentlemen, I'm curious here, aside from the main and co-main event, which I think everyone watching this fucking card this weekend is going to glue into, is there one particular matchup, despite all the shenaniganry on here, that you are actually excited about on this card?
I'll take the lead on that. I'm actually excited about the Roman Kopylov-Josh Fremd fight, not because of Josh Fremd, but because I want to see how Roman Kopylov comes out and absolutely destroys him. Because to be honest, I think he deserves a number by his name. I think he's a little overlooked right now. And in that middleweight division, that little bit of fresh blood will go a long way. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And Russian Chase Hooper is nothing to be fucked with to begin with. Fremd is so fucking dented, it's not even funny. I think Kopylov could put on a real good show this weekend for sure.
For me, it's going to have to be the Zell Huber versus Yagos fight. Yagos has always been back and forth and shit. Both of them have a lot of knockout potential, a lot of finishing potential. And Zell Huber, being 24 years old, only having the one loss, goes out there and just absolutely works fucking Yagos or knocks him the fuck out. It's going to work him the fuck back in. And just like you said earlier on the contender spot, it'll put him back in there, that spark of potential, you know? A little bit of slight, oh man, this kid might have something. So we're looking forward to it. The fight itself, because of that knockout potential, could be exciting too, even though we know Yagos has always kind of been back and forth. But we'll see how it goes. But it's definitely one of them. I'm the more like looking forward to compared to the co-main and main event.
Absolutely agreed. I'm very curious to see how that one plays out. I think that one could be one of the best fights of the night, or a good time to go take a shit, depending on how they both show up. It's kind of hard to tell for sure. I would say probably the one that I am most intrigued about personally here is that Alex Reyes versus Charlie Campbell. I don't think Alex Reyes has much to offer to begin with, but what Vegas sees in him to give him the plus 350 on the UFC's website as the dog just shows that nobody really has much potential in, or no much, or has much faith rather in Alex Reyes' potential this weekend against Charlie Campbell. And Charlie Campbell coming in as the fucking minus 450 favorite. Again, they don't put drastic odds like this out there this far out unless there's enough for them to make a fairly educated decision, generally speaking. Charlie Campbell's got a lot of potential, in my opinion, from what we've seen so far. And if he goes out there and lives up to it, coming out, second fight out, first set of guys coming out of the fucking walkway this weekend, he could kick things off and get shit real exciting. So we'll flip that one around then. So we all know this card is a hangover card, and there's plenty to fucking go after here. But I'm curious if there's one in particular that you gentlemen have seen getting extra shine that it definitely does not fucking deserve here.
I'm not going to swing at low-hanging fruit because we all know what that is here, because it has gotten way more than it deserves. But I'm actually going to go a different fucking route here, and I'm actually going to say one that I'm still intrigued to watch. Lupe Godinez and Elise Reed. In the premier prelim spot, Elise Reed is nothing to write home about. We know Lupe Godinez can just walk through her. But putting it in the premier prelim spot, kind of fucked up place. I don't think it deserves to be there. Just as a whole, anything with Elise Reed in it doesn't deserve any sort of shine. If anything, you let the cat piss on it and throw it out with the rest of the bad litter, because that's all there is to it. Unfortunately, Lupe Godinez gets looped in with the release rates bullshit.
For me, I'm going to go with the Padilla versus Kyle Nelson fight. Padilla kind of looked good in his debut, but to me, this is just one of those fights you expect, the first round knockout or something like that. It's going to be a quick finish. So I'm not too worried about it. It's one of those you could go do something else. It's been a little hyped up, in my opinion, more than it should be. Kyle Nelson's the obvious can. There's no excitement back and forth. It's just a one-way fight. That's one I'm going to go with because just like TJ, I don't want to go with the low-hanging fruit. We all know what the low-hanging fruit is.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, as in keeping with tradition here, I as well will avoid the low-hanging fruit. But as is generally my tradition, I am also going to go in a little off-curve direction here. My overhyped fight of the card is actually Kopylov versus Fremd. I have so little faith in Josh Fremd being able to do anything really to stop Kopylov. Whether Kopylov knocks him out or just wrestle fucks the shit out of him for 15 minutes, I have very little faith in Fremd to be able to pull this off short notice or full camp. The fact that he's coming in on short notice does give him that little tiny puncher's what if chance, the untrained for, the unprepared for factor. But in this situation, I think Kopylov has more than enough shine in this that people can shut the fuck up. We already know. So with that being said, we will duck around that low-hanging rotten fucking fruit here. I am curious on how you gentlemen think this co-main event shakes loose. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but I'm kind of the mind here, along with Christian, that I think JDM has got fucking power, but I think Holland has the experience at this point, especially with him fluctuating back and forth from welterweight to middleweight a couple of times there, and now deciding that he's going to commit to welterweight. I think that experience might play off a little bit better here. What do you think, TJ?
Well, I'm going to be the bad guy here because I know where everybody's going. So we'll just do this here. Say this outright. I am a big fan of Kevin Holland. I fucking love the mouth. The talking during the fights, the crazy finishes, fucking knocking Jacare out off of his fucking back. That shit is fucking great. But we haven't seen him with a lot of good new breed fighters. Where we're seeing a lot of his really good wins are the guys who've been seasoned, been in there for a while, so he knows how to pick them apart. What happened when, unfortunately, we got the fuckery of the goddamn having to fight fucking Hamzat because of Hamzat not making weight? He got absolutely demolished. Now, am I saying that Jack Della Maddalena is of that fucking caliber? I don't think so. That dude's his own fucking animal. But what I am saying, what we've seen out of Jack Della Maddalena coming into the UFC, he's absolutely fucking destroyed everybody. The only person who's made it out of the fucking fight alive has been his last opponent. And he's not just a knockout threat. He's also subbing people because he's got subs in the UFC. Well, a sub in the UFC. So we know it is there. Excuse me. I corrected myself there. But still, the route that he is on, we know he's got the gas tank because we've seen him go 3. He went 3 in his last. He's got a possibility of 3 here with Kevin Holland. We know Kevin Holland can be taken out. We've seen it before. The only spot where I will say I'm a little iffy is because of the lack of highly ranked opponents. They have kind of teed him up a little bit. I will give that fucking, that's the one spot where I will say, yeah, he's been teed up a little bit. But the amount of teeing up, he's obviously knocked clean out of the park, where only one of all of his fights in the UFC have gone to decision. He's a finishing fucking machine. Kevin Holland will pick people apart and he will decision them. Or he'll make some stupid error when he could win a fight by letting something go to the ground, but decides to let Wonder Boy back up. But I don't think that's going to be this kind of fight. I know Kevin Holland is going to give him the toughest test of his fucking career, but I think we see Jack Della Maddalena actually finish Kevin Holland. I don't think it gets out of the second round. I think he's going to knock him out. I think he's got plenty of power to do it. I don't think the first round is going to be easy for him, but I think he gets it done in the second.
Interesting indeed. What you think, Christian? How do you think this plays out?
In the absolute opposite direction, like Jack looked really rough in his last fight against a guy who never fought any tough competition like a UFC caliber fighter. He looked absolutely fantastic since he'd come off the Contender Series. Nothing but straight finishes, like TJ said, submissions or knockouts in the first round. And then he goes to a decision, 15 minutes, and gets his ass worked. Like he won the fight, but in my opinion, it could have swung the other way if you had some questionable judging like we've seen before. His face was fucked up, though. He definitely went through a little bit of a war against a young kid making his debut in a last-minute notice. Kevin Holland is that guy. You could have given him a 3 days notice, and he's still going to be an ungodly tough challenge. He is good every freaking where you think about it, and he's fought almost 20 times, at least more than a dozen times since he's come off the Contender Series. He's been so active since he got in the UFC. So he's fought so many top contenders The only fights that he's really lost near the top are guys like Hamzat, Wonder Boy, Derek Brunson, Marvin Vettori. So in the 185 division or 170 division, the literal guys that we would think near the top, literal top 5 guys still in contention for the title, because we would think Wonder Boy is still right there. He should be getting a top 5 opponent and getting his next opportunity to work his way into that title picture. We all know that, but the UFC's kind of fucking stalling him out. They're irritating the hell out of me with that. But I think Holland, with that experience, not just the experience, TJ said Jack's got that power and everything. I just feel like Holland's so slick. His defense is so good. It's similar to what we saw with Sean Strickland against Izzy. Kevin Holland's going to have the speed advantage, and he's just so slick. He's going to be moving around. He's got that weird kind of fighting style as well. It'll be hard for Jack Della Maddalena to get himself going. He's got that same boxing style. He's going to be looking for the counters more, and he's also got to get his jab going. If he can't get his jab going, he's going to be in trouble. And if that's what he's looking for is the counters more than anything, it's not going to be good for him. We know Jack likes to keep it standing. He normally doesn't look for going to the ground, even if he's got the submissions. Holland would look to get it to the ground. It's just, I feel like Holland's so much more well-rounded, but also if it stays on the feet, he's just going to be able to do what we thought Izzy would do to Strickland, or what we saw Strickland do to Izzy. He's just going to be able to work the feints, work those tricks, and just be the faster guy on the feet, have the better defense. He may not have the better power. I do think Jack's got a little more power than Holland, but it'll be that situation Strickland. You know, he didn't have the power, but he still almost knocked Izzy out in the first round. The speed and the experience, everything, I think is just going to work out for Holland. I'm looking at I like TJ's second round call for Jack. I'm looking at like a second round finish too for Holland. And I feel like it could be more submission this time for Holland than anything. But like I said, I could see it being a knockout TKO as well. If he just slips Jack up, you know, hit him the right way. We saw Strickland do what he did to Izzy, man. But I do think that more than anything. Yeah, maybe Jack clips him with a nice shot. He starts working it towards the ground and gets the submission in the second round. I think Holland gets it done no matter how it shakes out.
Interesting. See, this is the point where I can't go full hat, so I'm gonna have to go like Fresh Prince. Parents just don't understand here for a minute. I agree with Christian partially. I do also give credit to TJ's answer partially here. I do think Holland is going to take it, and I do think Holland takes it by submission. I don't, however, think it goes via either direction here. I think this is one of those situations where, yes, Jack is a great fucking boxer, and yes, Kevin is a great boxer, and the problem is when we see two great boxers fight each other in the UFC more times than not, it ends up a wrestle fest. The difference here is that Kevin Holland will choke the fucking life out of you before you blink twice, where we have seen Jack have some issues on the ground. He's not a complete turtle. He doesn't completely just flail when he gets down there, but it's definitely not his area of proficiency. And with the new motivated Kevin Holland that we have seen, tired of the bullshit, tired of letting himself go back and forth to welterweight, playing around, committed to welterweight, where he knows he has to be disciplined and he has to be smarter. I think Kevin Holland comes in here, does not even fuck around in the slightest bit. I think we get a round 1 submission by Holland here.
I actually really agree with you on that, just because I remember Terrence McKinney saying a little while ago they were fucking training Kevin Holland just sitting there fucking choking him out,
the fuck out of him all the time.
So he can sit there and just choke dudes out, just be chilling.
He's got the Diaz Jitsu down. Yeah, no, I think that Diaz Jitsu comes out of Big Mouth this weekend, because I think he understands how big of a platform this is, and I don't think that taco truck was enough for him. I love that fucking video. That shit made me so fucking laughed so fucking loud, but I think he understands that if he comes out and really shines this weekend, the rocket gets strapped back to him and he's headed for the fucking top of 170. And I think with that knowledge and his fucking ground game, the smart move would be go in there, don't even fucking play, and just give him the old what for, man. So I think Kevin gets it done round one, and my Tapology will reflect as much in case you fuckers want to hold it accountable. That being said, though, the reason for the season, the celebration of Mexican Independence Day in Las Vegas, I guess. But credit where credit is due. Alexa Grasso won herself the ladies flyweight belt from someone that no one ever thought was going to be able to relinquish that belt of her own choosing. And now we get to find out this weekend if that was indeed a fluke or if Alexa really had studied Valentina that in-depthly that she is going to maintain control of the ladies flyweight division. So I ask you, gentlemen, Alexa Grasso, the current champion, versus Valentina Shevchenko as a challenger for the first time since 2014. How do you think this one shakes loose?
I'm a little flippy floppy on this on one account. And I will call myself out for being flippy floppy here because I am not sure. One of two things is going to happen. Either Valentina learned her lesson from last time and stopped throwing all those spinning fucking kicks for an easy takedown and choke out. Well, wasn't even a choke out. She was across the chin. Like if you go back and you look at the footage and the pictures afterwards, you could see from about here down on her chin going to her neck was white, pale as fuck, and all up here was red as hell. So Grasso's got some really good fucking grip strength when she gets a hold of that fucking neck or chin. It was enough to make her tap even though her chin was tucked. So as long as Shevchenko stops throwing all the spinny bullshit, because that's what led her to getting fucking subbed, she'll win this fight. Because I don't think that Alexa Grasso can stand with her. I still don't. However, on the other side of that, Alexa Grasso can stop Valentina's fucking bully headlock throws that she likes to use. She'll win this fight. As long as, again, Valentina's not throwing spinny bullshit and can get her back taken again. But I'm leaning more on the lines of Valentina has been a lifelong fighter. She's been training since she was a fucking kid. She'll be able to make the adjustment and regain the title. She'll be another woman in the long line of women who have reclaimed their belts. I don't think it's going to be a quick fight. I think we see it go to the fourth round, and I think that's finally when we'll see Shevchenko finish her off.
I do agree with you on that aspect that I think Shevchenko is going to regain the belt and she's going to finish Grasso, but I don't think it's going to last very long. I think she's fucking angry. And her being a contender, like for the belt, it's weird as fuck as a fan, but I think it's going to light that fire back on her. It's going to be similar to when Amanda lost to Juliana Pena. And in the second fight, it's just going to be an absolute beatdown. If that fight goes any sort of a distance, it'll be bad for Grasso. I think she's going to be absolutely destroyed on the feet. You even said it, TJ. I don't think Grasso can stand on the feet with her, but Valentina's going to make those adjustments to where it doesn't go to the ground. She's going to have that takedown defense. She's not going to make those mistakes. She's not going to give up her damn back. She doesn't have to do any spinny bullshit. We've seen it. She can just straight up stand there and get the Muay Thai and just pop Grasso in the damn head with a nice solid head kick. It's going to be lights out, in my opinion, round two. I'm calling it probably second round here. Maybe the round three, if Grasso can kind of work some sort of clinch and grapple it. I don't see her getting Valentina down, but it's going to be rough. I think Valentina is going to be one pissed off lady. and she's going to go in there, whoop some ass, and get that belt back. She got something to prove, especially now that Amanda retired. She's got that, what do you call it? That pinnacle to reach again of being the best woman's fighter right now in mixed martial arts, not just in the UFC, just across the world in general. She gets her belt back. She goes out there and dominates Grasso. She's probably back above Kayla Harrison and any other ladies fighter out there in the MMA world. So we all thought she was going to win the first one. It was a big surprise. Good for Grasso on it. She's definitely got the ability and the danger factor to get it again. But I'm putting my money on the Bullet finishing things off.
Yeah, I think I think you guys are both right a little bit here. I can't go full parents, just don't understand. I think I've got to go like Marky Mark just before he left the Funky Bunch. I do think Valentina gets her belt back for damn sure. I don't think it's going to be a quick one. I think Alexa has got such a fire lit under her ass to defend this belt, to stamp her name as the Mexican champion. The reason that this card is taking place, when, how, and where it is. And I think she's going to bring the fucking fire. On the other side of that, though, that Chevy truck was in cruise control the last time. And I think it kind of showed. Again, she's not making excuses, so I'm not going to make excuses for her about that loss. But if you put that fight against any other Valentina Shevchenko title defense, you could see that she was starting to phone it in a little bit. She was getting a little complacent in her striking. She was getting a little loose in her defense. And Grasso had seen that there's more than enough tape out there to find those windows that she could exploit that. Because of that reason, I think this is going to be a gritty fight. I don't think we go all five. I don't think we see a decision here, but I think Valentina and Alexa are going to go fucking toe to toe. And I think it's not going to spend much time on the ground. I think this is going to be a fight on the feet going back and fucking forth. But I think because of how that last fight played out and the taste that it left in Valentina's mouth, I think TJ's right. I don't think we see any spinning shit. I think she comes out full tiger fucking Muay Thai, chopping, kicking, staying fucking bladed, square at Alexa, and just giving her the goddamn business until at such a point, I'm thinking probably mid fifth round, potential for late fourth round, but I'm thinking probably mid fifth round. Valentina's going to catch her with something and have her visibly wobbled. And in that moment, we'll have that fucking robot-like reflex response and just spinning fucking back elbow Alexa into next weekend. I think Valentina gets it by knockout, but I think it goes long into the fucking fight to get there. I'm thinking probably fifth round, but I think she's going to save that spinny shit for when she's got Alexa hurt, just to show her, oh yeah, bitch, by the way, whack, can't do it again. That being said, though, it is MMA, and the best laid plans of mice and men, as they say, when they get into the octagon, crumble like the proverbial cookie. So the only way to find out how this actually will play out is to tune in this weekend to UFC Noche. That being said, that is all we have got for this particular episode here. So if you enjoy what we get up to around here, first and foremost, thank you for tuning in, whether you were catching it live Thursday nights, 9:30-ish Central Standard Time on youtube.com/I'mNoJoe, or you're catching this in the all audio version a week later over on anchor.fm/I'mNoJoe through your podcast consumption platform of choice. Either way, we appreciate you guys sticking around and digging what we do. If you do dig what we do, please make sure you give us a thumbs up, you're subscribed, and your notifications are turned on whatever platform you pick this up on. We greatly appreciate it. It helps the algorithm kind of keep us at least somewhat in the back of their mind. That being said, the other side of that coin, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast you didn't enjoy? Give us a thumbs down and then go fuck yourself. We wouldn't even dispute it. That being said, when we wrap things up around here at the end of Thursday night, that's not the end of the fun, because the shenanigans, they roll on, ladies and gentlemen. First thing tomorrow morning and most Friday mornings, that gentleman over there, and his partner, Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, drops over on Spreaker.com. The links to that and all of their social medias are down in the description, as well as the link to their very own channel on the I'm No Joe Discord server. Pop in, say hello. It's a good time.
Appreciate you, brother. And the fun doesn't fucking stop there, even if people missed out on it this fucking past week. Brother was a little busy. Life is life. You gotta make sure you tune in every Wednesday. Don't be discouraged. He'll be back. Fucking golf tee vapes on, getting the foggy fairway around 9 o'clock, 9:30 Central Time every Wednesday night. Make sure you fucking tune in. Get your vape recipes, your mixes. Have a good fucking chill time. Show the brother some love every Wednesday night.
Thank you, sir. Now, if you didn't know, Meter does many things outside of just kicky punchies. In fact, if you want to know all the things that the Meter does do, you can go right down below, click on Linktree / the Meter does many things. That will take you to all of the many things that the Meter does do. You can also go to Linktree / I'm No Joe. That will also take you to all of those linky poos as well. Go click on them. Have a gay old time. Come back, join us for more next week, Thursday. We'll be here.
Absolutely. And even though he's probably still a little foggy himself at the moment, our new guy, Ramie, is a great and fun part of the show here. And he also does his own podcast, the Mocana Culture podcast, with his partner, TJ, over on their YouTube channel. Their links and all the fun things for those boys are down below. Ramie, hopefully your head gets back connected to your shoulders, my friend. That being said, that is all we have got for this particular evening, boys and girls. Thank you again for everyone that tuned in. Remember, until next time, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what